Right, so here's topic 2 of our chapter 6 unit, solving systems of equations. This is solving by a method called substitution. Alright, so the graphing is actually kind of the worst method. It's very visual, easy to see, but if the numbers don't come out to nice whole numbers, then it's very difficult to get the exact answer. So this is an algebraic method. The one of 2 methods that we're going to teach you. So what you want to do is master both methods because you want to use the one that's easiest for that particular problem. Alright, so some problems lend themselves to substitution, which we'll show you here. Alright, so now these are blank on yours. What I would recommend is pausing it while you write, but then listening to what I say. So first what we're going to do is isolate a variable, or solve an equation for one variable. Alright, it doesn't matter, just get x equals or y equals. One of them, solve for one variable. Then what you're going to do is take what that variable equals and plug it into the other equation for that variable. Okay, let's just delete this thing because it's driving me crazy. So then you're going to solve that equation because you've got an equation with one variable. Once you get your answer, you're going to plug it back in, and then you check your solution just as you did before. Alright, so after you do a few of these problems or do the U-tries, come back and this explanation will make much more sense. So make sure you copy that down now and pause it if you haven't. Alright, so first example here. What we're going to do is initially solve the equation for one variable. That's already done. We already have y equals here, right? So that's what we did. Now substitute. I'm going to take what y is equal to, that's 3 plus x, and I'm going to substitute that in for y in the other equation. So that gives me x plus 3 plus x equals 5. I now solve this equation. So group like terms, subtract 3 from both sides, and then divide both sides by 2. It gives me x equals 1. And now I can plug this into either one. It doesn't matter, but it's easiest to do the second. So y equals 3 plus x is 1, so y equals 4. You then want to check your solution. So plug in 1 for x, 4 for y, and they both work. So sweet. Alright, so here's another one. Solving via substitution. What I got to do is first eliminate one of the solve for one of the variables. So it looks like it's easiest to subtract the 3y, and that'll give me x equals 7 minus 3y. Now what I'm going to do is substitute in for x, because I have x equals. I'm going to substitute this in. So that gives me 4, instead of 4 times x, it's 4 times 7 minus 3y. Make sure you use the parentheses. And rewrite the entire equation just with this substituted in. Now I'm just going to solve the equation like I normally would. Solve a one variable equation. Gives me 28 minus 12y minus 2 equals 0. So, is that right? Oh, this is 2y, my bad. There we go. So group like terms, I got negative 14y. I'm going to subtract the 28 to the other side. And that gives me 14y equals negative 28. So y equals 2. Now, I plug that back into either one. I don't care. I'm going to plug it into the first one. X plus 3 times 2 equals 7. So x plus 6 equals 7. So x is 1. There's my answer. Now what I want to do is make sure that I did it correctly. Since I used the top equation to obtain this x, I'm going to plug my x and y into the second equation. So 4 times 1 minus 2 times y is 2 equals 0. That does in fact work, so that is the correct answer. So my answer is here. Or I could write it as 1, 2. So another example here. substitution method when we have both y equals. These are actually the easiest. All we do is substitute this equation in for here. You basically are setting them equal to each other. You get 3x plus 4 equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. Alright, now to get rid of the fraction, what do? That's right, we multiply by the common denominator. So multiply everything. And that gives me 6x plus 8 equals negative 1x minus 6. Now I'm going to do two steps at once here. I'm going to minus the 8 off. So I have no more free numbers over here. And I'm going to also add an x, so that cancels. So that gives me 7x equals negative 14. So x equals negative 2. I now plug that in. It doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to plug it into the first one. Y equals 3 times x, which is negative 2, plus 4. So y equals negative 2. Since I used the top equation to get my y, I'm going to use the bottom equation to check my answer. Negative 2, does that equal negative 1/2 times negative 2 minus 3? Negative times a negative is a positive. 1/2 times 2 is 1. So yes, negative 2 does equal 1 minus 3. So it works. Wow. So recall, whenever you have some type of answer algebraically that gives you no solution, that's when the variables eliminate and you get some nonsense like 0 equals 5 or something like that. Alright, if you get an answer that has all real numbers, that's when you get an answer like 0 equals 0 or x equals x or something like that, something equaling itself. That would be an all real number answers, and that would be no solution. Alright, so let's try another one here. I substitute x is alone, so I substitute this in for x. 3 minus y plus y equals 7. Those cancel, that gives me 3 equals 7. So that's no solution. Here, I got to get y alone, or get one of them alone. It's easiest to isolate the y. So minus 2x. Minus 2x, that gives me y equals 4 minus 2x. So I now plug this in for y in this equation. So it gives me 4x plus 2 times 4 minus 2x equals 8. And I'm now going to solve this. 4x plus, distributing this gives me an 8 and a minus 4x. These are like terms, so I combine them. 4x minus 4x is 0. That cancels out. Gives me 8 equals 8. Alright, so that tells me that all real numbers is my answer. So the final answer here would have to be all real numbers. Oh, that's not right. My bad. Not all real numbers. Infinite solutions. There are numbers that don't work, so it's not every real number, but there's infinite solutions. So same thing up here. Not all real numbers, infinite solutions. Might be. If the results are true, means the lines intersect, they're not parallel. The lines could be coinciding because that would be infinite answers. That makes no sense, and that has nothing to do with anything. So here is your you try for solving by substitution. Any questions? Write them in the margins. See you next class.